Yeah, definitely. So I got it. I'm recording now.
Okay, cool. And then if you can hold it kind of like my mic is, so like it would be like a fist length in front of you, but a little bit over to the side. Great. Well, thanks for hopping on the phone with me.
Of course.
My name's Brittany. Can I have you just introduce like your name, like my name is, and where you're located?
Okay. Well, my name is Dulce. I am located in Phoenix, Arizona, and have lived here about 15 years.
Cool. And can you tell me what's been happening with your job, with your career during the pandemic?
The pandemic definitely turned my life upside down for sure. I was working a very good job. I was a server at Phoenix Sky Harbor. We were constantly busy. It was an amazing schedule. It was really good money as well. And then we started hearing about the pandemic, and within like 2 to 3 weeks, everyone was unemployed. And that was hard. It was hard for me, but even some of my coworkers that have families and all of that, like I can't imagine how hard that must be. And yeah, I was unemployed for maybe about a good 8 months. And then I started, going to school for real estate, and it has completely taken off. It's going very well.
So you loved your job and you felt like comfortable there. You were being paid well.
Yes.
So like talk to me about like was there a moment where you're like, I'm just gonna do something entirely different?
Yeah. So I had plans on like staying as a server there for a lot longer, just because honestly the income was very good at the airport. And once that stopped and I was unemployed for so long, I knew I wanted to do something that was going to be a career, not a job. I wanted something that was going to inspire me, that was going to push me, that was going to put me.
Can I have you back up and just because of the noise and just say again, like I wanted something that was going to.
Okay. I wanted something that was going to inspire me and motivate me and make me uncomfortable. And I wanted a career. I used to work at a bank before I was a server. I had a friend who was being super successful in real estate. And that's what got me thinking. It's like, well, I used to work at a bank, so I have a little bit of information of the real estate world. And I contacted her because I was interested, and she just gave me a little bit of information on that. And I thought about it and I looked into it, and I took the leap and I started studying for the real estate test. The whole thing took me about 3 months because it's a hard test. It's like 200 questions. And then even then, once you pass your real estate test, technically it's sort of like, it's a statistic that a new agent doesn't have a contract up until like after the 6 months they've been a new agent. And I've been an agent now for 6 months, and I'm at 14 transactions, which is amazing for a new realtor.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like, well, if there hadn't been a pandemic, like, actually, let me back up. So before the pandemic, you were kind of doing like odd jobs and gigs type of things, like stuff that just like paid well, but it wasn't like, you weren't thinking like long-term career.
Correct. Yeah, okay. I was doing those jobs. I mean, that server job I did really enjoy. I enjoyed my coworkers and everything, but I knew it wasn't like, definitely not like long term. So the pandemic, it absolutely pushed me to be a whole new person.
Yeah, but that's also like kind of risky, especially knowing that there's like, you need to spend all this time studying for this test, and then once you pass the test, there's usually like 6 months before the career
Mm-hmm.
kind of kicks off. Was that worrying to you when you decided to try it?
Oh, yeah. I was absolutely worried. You have so much doubt go into your head, and you ask yourself, like, is this the right thing? Since it's not a week to week check. So you're sort of risking yourself, obviously you have rent to pay, you have other bills to pay, like you're sort of risking it all on yourself. And I have learned through that whole process that your mind is very powerful and you can do what you set your mind to. And that's sort of what I stuck with. Every morning I would just get up early and try my absolute best that day. And that's, even if I had doubt, I still told myself I can do this. I can do this. And that's what helped me get here.
And when did you decide that you were going to start studying for the test? Do you remember? Was it
Yeah, I decided, it was around August of last year that I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I then purchased, because you have to like purchase the school and all that. I then purchased the school, and then from there on, it took me about 3 months to do it.
Do you remember what you were doing the day you purchased it? Was it just like another day of Netflix? I can't do this again.
Yes, actually, being unemployed, it's like there's not much to do, especially during a pandemic. So yeah, so there wasn't much to do, and I was like, if I'm gonna do it, it's gonna be now, because you have so much time in your hands. So that day, I think it must have been a Netflix day for sure.
And then from there, you just sort of like started studying intensely.
Yes, I was studying really hard. I think I studied too much. I don't even want to tell you how many notes I have, because it's way too much. And I think I also burned myself out a little bit. I think if you overstudy, like your brain isn't going to be able to capture everything. And I did just that. I just went too hard. And then I didn't pass my first state exam. And let me tell you, I was devastated because of how hard I was studying. And then I took a step back, and I then started structuring my days of, I'm just going to study 4 hours a day versus 8 hours a day. And after I took my first test and I failed, I went in even a second time, and even the second time I also failed. I failed by like 3 questions the second time. Yeah.
3 out of 200.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, even then, I was like still devastated. I was frustrated. I was like, self-doubt 100%. I was like, I can't do this. I'm already doing my best, and it's still not enough. And I just went back. I studied the whole book once again, but also not overwhelming myself. And finally, the third time, when I passed it, I'm not kidding you, I started crying when I saw that I passed my test, because I knew at that moment, I knew that I could do anything I want if I set my mind to it. Even if it comes with frustration, with failure, if I'm committed to it, I'm gonna get there. And that's why I was crying. It was emotional. It was emotional.
I mean, you mentioned self-doubt. Were there, did you ever, after the first test or after the second, just think like, this isn't going to work out? Maybe I shouldn't try doing this?
I was really committed. It was more of a when I'm going to pass, not if I'm going to pass. So I already knew, even if I fail, I'm going to do it again. So no, not necessarily. I just knew it was going to happen, but it was hard.
So you're super determined. Do you feel like you I don't know. When you look at where you are right now and where you were before the pandemic and like compare job and career stuff, like what does that comparison look like for you? Like, what do you think about that?
Honestly, when I look at myself in pictures, I see a whole different person. I feel like I have grown so much, since the start of the pandemic. I honestly, I don't like to say like these type of things out loud because I know COVID affected a lot of people in such a negative and ugly way. But what happened with me, it's sort of, I'm so sorry to say this, but it gave me an opportunity to really sit down and see what I wanted to do with my life, where I wanted to take my job, and within myself as a person. I had a lot of time to reflect on who I wanted to be as a person, and I was sort of determined both ways. And I want to be, I envision myself of being this person, and I want to become that person, and I'm going to work on that. And as well within my career, is like I envision my career in this sort of level, and I'm going to work to get there. And that time the pandemic happened, it allowed me to tackle those things. And when I compare myself now to exactly 1 year ago, I feel like I have completely changed. And when I see myself in pictures, it's like I know that's me, but it's not me. It's just a whole different person in so many ways. It's crazy to talk about.
You look really like happy and like satisfied, like you're like feel good with where you are.
Thank you. I feel it too. I feel like I'm satisfied, and along the way I have created habits, which is like working out in the mornings, or starting like my affirmations in the morning, doing like yoga and eating healthier. I definitely think now is like you are what you eat, because if you eat unhealthy, you're going to feel not so good. And if you eat healthy, you just have so many more positive like vibes. And it's just all of that I have learned within the last year. And yeah, I'm definitely a lot more happy and content on where I am today than where I was a year ago, for sure.
And like money wise, are you making as much?
I had set a goal for this year, of how much money I wanted to make. And, I think I should be there by the end of next month. So I have exceeded my own expectations, and I am making the most money I have ever made in my entire life. Even as a server, even as working as a server at the airport, you're still making very good money. But what I'm making now, it's almost probably by the end of the year, is probably going to be the double.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable saying how much?
Yeah, I'm comfortable. So as of right now, I just had another transaction go under contract this morning. Including that, I would say I'm probably around making for the year $85K.
Wow. First year in.
First year. Yeah. The average new realtor has, the average realtor a year has 12 transactions a year. And I'm currently at 14, and I plan on doubling it by the end of the year. And that's just my...
Like 12 sales?
Yeah, 12 sales.
Is like a sale?
Yeah, correct. Okay. Like either a sell or a buy. Does that make sense?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool. That's sort of where I'm at right now.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sale or buy a transaction this morning.
Yeah, I literally, right when you called me, literally 5 minutes before that, we made an offer on a property, and they had called me that they're accepting the offer. So I'm just waiting right now for that to lock in.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
You got up, you did your affirmations,
Yep.
you went to the gym, you did your sale, and now you're doing an interview. And it's
Yeah. And not only that, we also made another offer for another client this morning too. Yeah, so when you called me, you were like, oh, I'm so sorry I'm calling early. I was like, this is like the afternoon for me. Yeah.
I've been busy for sure.
Yeah. But that's sort of where I've been.
Well, I know you're super busy today. Thank you so much for your time.
Of course.
You can hit stop on the recorder, and if you could just send it to me through an email,